Hello everyone, in this video I am going to show you how to create realistic watercolor illustration in the app Hipaint. So I am opening a 3:4 ratio canvas first, and here first of all I am going to use the fountain pen brush to create the basic map for our watercolor painting. So my technique of creating watercolor illustration is different. It may work for you or not. You have to try it and make sure it works. And this is the style that I usually follow for my watercolor illustration. So here first I'm going to create a first layer. This is the reference layer. We are not going to bring this layer for in the outcome, in the final illustration. So it's just for our reference. So you can try erase, redraw, or you can make multiple stroke, no worries, because only we using this layer for our purpose of reference. So I'm just making a random line, and don't make a line and hold on, because it will create a automatic shape detection and create its own shape. So to keep the leaves really raw in shape, use your hand movements, and don't use shape recognition by the Hipaint. So just make strokes and keep the stroke really mild. And if you don't have any idea, then you can search on Pinterest for the reference, and you will get more ideas, more reference for your illustration. You can combine 2 or 3 illustrations and you can create your one. For example, many ask me how you get a reference for your artwork. So basically, sometimes I want a texture from an artwork, but I don't want that style of artwork. So I just want that texture, but I want to create something different. Then I make mine that I want that texture. Then I will choose what are the kind of artwork. For example, if it is an watercolor leaf illustration like this, so I will search for how the natural leaf shape looks. So which means I will search for leaf photography, tree photography, like that, and you will get some ideas of the shape. Then for the color, you can either go for realistic, or you can go for watercolor artworks itself. Then you can get ideas how the watercolor leaf looks like. Then you can get an idea how the corner of the leaves should look and how the center should look, what kind of the colors. For example, at the corners it should be darker, and at the center it should be a little bit milder, and that stem at the center, like a veins at the center. So all those things, so you have to note all those things. So here I created the reference layer. Keep that layer at the top and make sure you keep the blending mode of that layer as multiply. Also reduce the opacity of the layer. Now go to the bottom layer. Here is where I am going to create the watercolor illustration. And make sure you lock the reference layer, because accidentally you may create that watercolor illustration in the reference layer. And here click on the lasso and click on the add option. Otherwise, if you select a area and create next selection, the previous selection will be removed unless you choose the add option. So if you want to select multiple leaves areas, you have to switch on the add option in the lasso tool. Now just drag and select the area of the leaves. Make sure you select the alternate leaves or the leaves which have space in between. For example, these two leaves are away from each other, so no problem. But there are some leaves that have overlapping. Here you can see. In this case, I have to select only one leaf area, and in the next, after creating the watercolor texture for these leaves, then I will select another set of leaves do the same process again. Now, so this is how we have to select the leaf shape using the lasso tool. It is not required that we have to um, drag and select exact same shape of the leaf that we have drawn. You can make little bit variations, no problem. And here I'm going to use the watercolor brush from the painting set in the Hipaint app. So this is the default brush, and here is the color palette that I'm going to use. Now go for medium color, not too dark, not too light. So I'm going for something mild, medium, and this is the usual. If you have full opacity of the brush, then this is how it looks. The difference it makes is if you make a stroke without taking your hands out, it will look like this. But if you take your hands out, which means it make a separate stroke, and you will get more texture. So first what you can do is just make a single stroke application of the color, then you can use tapping method to add more texture to your leaves. So this is how I do. Just make a single stroke like this and give a tap to add some texture. You can use multiple color. There is nothing like same color leaves. There can be variation in the leaves, so no problem. And here I'm going to use the darker color to add more leaf texture. So I'm using this stroke at the top and bottom of the leaf, like both the corners, also the side corners, and like this. So you can also keep it mild or add more strokes. It's based on what kind of texture you like. So here I'm trying some dark green color. You can also try some yellowish shade or reddish shade, so you can create some atom leaves. Now I'm going to add a darker shade to the corners of the leaves like this. So then I'm continuing the topic. So after selecting the models, what kind of artwork that I want, I will make the illustration. So I will have all the reference in the reference area of whether it may be Hipaint or IBS Paintex. We have the reference panel. I will have that images in the reference, and so if I have doubt, go to that reference and zoom and see. That's what I want, like that. And now I finished adding the watercolor texture. Now I'm going to add line veins to the leaves. So I'm renaming this layer as, no, before that I'm going to add the base. So for the base, what the base is, we having the transparent texture, watercolor texture for our leaves. If you want to save this as png, it will be very transparent. So if you are adding that leaf to some other colorful background, that leaf will change to that color. To avoid that, once you have the selection on, first just create a separate layer for that and add the white color, and then in the new layer we have to add the watercolor texture. So I have I forgot to add that base before, so I'm doing that now. Now at the top of this watercolor texture layer, I'm creating the line layer where I will add veins of that leaves using the fountain pen brush. So basically I'm just using two brushes for this entire illustration. So I'm going to keep it very light so that it is visible in these dark leaves, like this. Also, don't make any hard stroke, instead keep it mild. So you can just leave a gap between these strokes, and you should have the mild thin corners, and I mean the tip of the stroke should be thin, like this. Yeah, done. Now I'm going to change the blending mode of this layer to, I tried many, but I ended up in hard light, which works better. And yeah, this looks good. Also you can reduce the opacity of the layer. Now in the new layer I'm going to add some shadow details. So basically, if you analyze the real leaf details, you can see to the both side of these veins there will be a darker shade. So to create that details, I'm using this layer. You can see like the vein is at the center and both sides of that have some darker shades, like this. Also I'm changing the blending mode of this layer to multiply. So yeah, this is how you have to add the shade. You can see how this little shading detail change the look of this entire leaf. It made that leaf into a 3D realistic one. You can feel that stroke, texture, shading, shadow effect, everything here. So this single detail made the leaf from a 2D into a 3D one. So this is how we have to add the shadow detail. So after I finished drawing of the basic style from the reference, I will definitely it's going to be mess. So I will redraw that again, and once I want to create a video for that, I already have done that illustration one or two times, sometimes one time or sometimes two times, so based on the difficulty of the artwork. So yeah, this is how I will create the illustration. Many asked me about this in my comment section, how you get the reference, how you get the idea. So I also use Behance, Pinterest, and all these things for the reference. So now you can see, go back to the base layer again. I'm going to select the other set of leaves, the leaves that I have already left, and I'm going to fill that leaves areas with white color. using the fill tool, I mean the leaf brush, and then going to do the same painting process for that we have already done for these leaves. So I'm going to do that again for these leaves as well. Going to the watercolor layer and doing the same process again. So it may look difficult and very time taking process um, in the video, but it is not as it is, because in this video I have to teach everything for you. Means I want you to understand the process. So I will do the process very slow, very in very light manner with multiple strokes. But when I draw personally, it just takes 10 to 20 minutes to create this. 20 minutes is maximum, because as I have done this watercolor illustration so many times, but I will create very easily. But this app is different from IBS Paint Text. These brushes are different, so the texture details, the texture outcome that we're going to get from Hipaint is going to be totally different from IBS Paint Text. So based on the app, based on the brush, it takes time difference. So yeah, almost I'm going to finish the shadow details of the leaves. Also, many of you asked me about the tablet I'm using. This is Samsung S7 tablet, and I'm using S Pen along with this. Both are bought at the same time. So I haven't used any other tablet in my life. This is my first tablet. So if you're asking me for the suggestion, I don't have any idea, because um, you know I have not used any other tablets. So now you can see I'm going back to the base layer, and I'm going to the watercolor layer, and using the lasso tool I'm going to select that stem area like this. So it is very thinner area that I have to select, so be patient and drag it slowly, select slowly, otherwise you're going to make the stem thick, big. So avoid that, it want to be thin, and like this. So select the areas part by part. Also you can add little bit of lines like this here and there. Okay, now we almost finished the selection. Now I'm going to fill with the color. So go back to the base layer and choose white color and use the leaf brush to fill white color. Then use the watercolor brush and use the darker color. Fill like this. Now choose some milder shade of green or brighter shade, and using the same brush with reduced opacity I'm going to you know add some strokes here and there to make some realistic effect for that stem. Now you can see the leaf is not at the center of the canvas. To move it all together without disturbing layers, what I'm going to do is create a folder and put all the layers inside that folder like this. So when you drag and put, you may collapse, mess up with the order of the layers. So make sure you didn't do that. And you can see now I'm going to duplicate this group and keeping one group hide and merge the all layers from this group. You can see merge layer group, and now it is a single layer. Now using the transform tool I can position it easily at the center of the canvas, and done. Now I'm going to save this as PNG. Also you can save this as JPG with background on. So if you want to save this as PNG, make sure you switch off the background and do that. And here is the final result. I hope you like this, learned something new from me, and if so, don't forget to subscribe. Many of you are not subscribing but watching my videos, so please subscribe and watch the videos. Tell me in the comment section if you like this video, what kind of illustration you want, and you can also ask the doubts you want. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel.